Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive.
It's great to be diving in again.
Today, we're doing something a bit different. We're not just opening a history book. Think of it more like stepping through a time portal.
Ooh, I like that. Where are we headed?
We're landing smack dab in Florence. The year is 1472.
Okay, Renaissance Florence, the heart of it all.
Exactly. Try and picture it. You can almost hear the big bells, right? Santa Maria del Fiore echoing over those terracotta roofs down the narrow alleys.
You can almost smell it too.
Yes. What would it smell like? That mix of oil paint, ink,
Yeah.
maybe fresh bread from a nearby baker.
And that sort of earthy dust from all the building, the stonework going on.
It's this incredible energy. Our source calls it a buzzing Renaissance cradle.
Oh.
Alive, vibrant.
That description itself just pulls you right in, doesn't it? That's from our source for today, Leonardo da Vinci, The Eternal Sketchbook.
It is. And that brings us to what we're doing here today. We're diving deep into the mind of Leonardo da Vinci using this source.
A mind worth exploring, for sure.
Absolutely. And we have sort of a dual mission today. First, obviously, we want to pull out the key insights from Leonardo's life. You know, the stuff that still resonates.
The aha moments.
Right. But second, and this is important for you listening, it's a chance to really sharpen your English skills. We're going to pay close attention to how the author tells the story.
The language itself.
Exactly. The descriptions, the verbs they choose, the phrases, how words paint pictures, just like Leonardo did on canvas. It's understanding the story, but also the storytelling.
And this source, the Eternal Sketchbook, it's perfect for that. It's packed with vivid anecdotes, quotes. It really weaves this rich tapestry of his life.
Yeah, it's a treasure trove.
So we're not just looking at history, we're exploring English expression through one of history's most fascinating figures, feeling the weight of the words, you know.
Well put. So why Leonardo? I mean, apart from the obvious genius factor.
Well, his relevance just doesn't fade, does it? His curiosity was boundless. He pursued knowledge everywhere, art, science, engineering.
He crossed all the lines.
He really did. And his impact is undeniable. It makes his story this perfect vehicle for learning, for discovery, and, yeah, for exploring language, too.
He was more than just an artist or inventor. He was like the embodiment of human potential, wasn't he? Always ahead of his time.
Definitely. A restless, brilliant mind.
Okay, let's get into it then. Let's really immerse ourselves back in that buzzing Renaissance cradle. Florence, 1472. So Florence, 1472. The source calls it that buzzing Renaissance cradle. Let's unpack that word, buzzing.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's not just noise, is it? It gives you this feeling of intense activity, like a constant hum.
Like a beehive, maybe, full of energy life.
Exactly. You get a sense of all the innovation, the art, the trade happening all at once. It's palpable.
And Renaissance cradle, that image of a cradle, it's metaphorical.
Oh, absolutely. It means the birthplace, the origin point. Florence wasn't just a city in the Renaissance. It was where it really started, the source.
The wellspring. Makes
Right.
sense. It sets the scene for the kind of person who could emerge from that environment.
And that person, our source introduces, is Leonardo di Ser Piero da Vinci. He's described as barely 20 years old.
Barely. That word really emphasizes his youth, doesn't it? Like he's just stepped over the threshold into adulthood.
Right, still very much at the start. And he's an apprentice. For anyone unfamiliar, an apprentice is basically a trainee, learning a skill from a master.
In this case, the master was Andrea del Verrocchio, a big name himself.
A very big name. So Leonardo's learning the ropes in a top workshop.
But even then, at 20, the book says he was already restless, already burning with visions too large for his time.
Restless. That word tells you so much about his inner state. It's not just fidgeting. It's a mind that can't stay still.
An engine inside him, always running.
Yeah, driving him beyond the ordinary.
Yeah.
And burning with visions. That's a powerful metaphor.
It suggests his ideas weren't just thoughts, they were intense, passionate, like a fire inside.
Almost overwhelming him, maybe, demanding to be let out, and too large for his time. That's key.
Meaning the world wasn't ready or couldn't understand.
Both, probably. His imagination outpaced the technology, the understanding of the era. This restlessness, it was his great gift, but maybe also, a challenge later on when it came to finishing things.
We definitely see that tension play out early on. The source gives this great little anecdote. Leonardo was supposed to be finishing a simple drawing for his master, an angel for a baptism scene.
Supposed to be. You can feel the obligation there, can't you? That's the job. That's what he should be doing. A standard religious commission for the time.
But was he doing it?
Well, not exactly. Or at least, not only that, the text says he had wandered into worlds of his own.
I love that phrase. It's like a mental vacation, isn't it? His mind just drifted off.
Completely. Lost in thought, exploring other ideas. And it wasn't just in his head. It's as his quill danced across the parchment.
Danced. What a verb. A quill, that's a feather pen, right? And parchment is the animal skin they wrote on.
Exactly. So danced gives you this image of quick, fluid, maybe even joyful movement. Effortless creativity flowing out.
And what was he drawing instead of just the angel?
This is where it gets really interesting. Strange flying contraptions, wheels with gears, and wings modeled after birds he had studied.
Flying contraptions already. Wow. So not just art, but engineering, observation.
Precisely. His mind was already working on multiple levels. Contraptions is a great word, too. Suggests unusual, complex machines. And modeled after birds that shows his scientific observation feeding directly into his inventions.
Okay, so he's lost in his sketches of flying machines. And then?
Reality bites. He heard his master's voice echo behind him. That verb echo gives a great sense of the sound in the workshop, maybe a bit sharp.
And Verrocchio says,
Leonardo, the client will not pay for your dreams. Finish the angel.
ouch. Straight to the point. The classic clash. Art versus commerce. Vision versus the deadline.
It's a timeless struggle, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Leonardo's reaction is quite telling.
How did he react? Did he argue?
No, apparently not. It says, Leonardo smiled softly. He obeyed, shading the angel's curls with the precision that made even Verrocchio pause.
So he just did it, but did it incredibly well.
Exactly. He obeyed. He followed the order. But the way he did it, the shading, creating that depth and form, was done with such precision, such exactness, that it stopped Verrocchio in his tracks.
It made Verrocchio pause. That says a lot. The master artist, impressed by his young apprentice.
It implies genuine astonishment. Verrocchio recognized the sheer brilliance, even in that moment of obedience.
And this leads to that almost legendary story about Verrocchio, right?
Yes, the source continues. Later, when the painting was complete, it was said Verrocchio never touched a brush again, convinced his pupil had surpassed him.
Surpassed him. That's the key verb there, isn't it? Meaning Leonardo didn't just equal him, he went beyond him.
Absolutely, exceeded his skills. And Verrocchio was convinced, totally certain. Whether the story is literally true or not about never painting again, it captures the impact Leonardo had.
It shows that those visions too large for his time weren't just idle dreams. They were backed by incredible skill, even then.
It perfectly sets the stage for the rest of his life, doesn't it? This blend of boundless imagination and extraordinary technical ability.
So, years go by, Leonardo's reputation grows, but so does that restlessness we talked about. The source says, Florence grew too small for Leonardo's boundless mind.
That's such a great way to put it, isn't it? It's metaphorical, obviously. The city wasn't shrinking.
But his mind was expanding.
Exactly. His intellect, his ambitions, they were just too vast, too boundless, meaning without limits for what Florence could offer him at that point. He needed a bigger stage.
So he hits the road.
Pretty much. It says he roamed from city to city. That word roamed suggests it wasn't always a straight path, more of an exploration.
And interestingly, he wasn't primarily marketing himself as a painter initially, was he?
No, that's a crucial point. He was often offering his talents as an engineer of war.
Which sounds quite different from the artist we usually think of. What did that involve back then?
It meant designing and building military machines, fortifications, siege engines, really practical, vital skills in Renaissance Italy with all its city-state conflicts.
He knew how to adapt, how to sell the skills that were in demand.
Absolutely, and he was clearly brilliant at it. Which leads us to that famous letter he wrote.
Ah, yes, the letter to the Duke of Milan, Ludovico Sforza. It's basically the most impressive job application ever, right?
It really is something else. Our source quotes parts of it. He tells the Duke, using that modal verb can, to show ability. I can build machines that destroy walls.
Wow, stern strong.
Bridges that can be carried on horseback, showing innovation and portability, a huge military advantage. And catapults more powerful than any you have seen, just straight up claiming superiority.
Confidence.
And then, after all that military engineering prowess, he adds, and if peace returns, I can sculpt in marble and paint in glory.
So I can win your wars and make you look magnificent in peacetime. What a pitch! To sculpt is to carve stone and paint in glory. That implies fame, legacy.
It covers all the bases. He's showing incredible versatility, the ultimate Renaissance man package deal.
And the Duke. He must have been impressed.
The source just says, concisely, the Duke accepted.
Boo!
Huge turning point.
So off to Milan he goes. And his life there sounds pretty amazing. The book describes it as him living like a court magician.
I love that phrase, court magician. It makes him sound enigmatic, multi-talented, essential to the Duke's court, able to conjure up wonders.
He wasn't just painting then.
Far from it. He was summoned to design festivals, plan huge parties and spectacles, build statues. Oh, and yes, paint too. To be summoned implies he was formally requested, called upon for his unique skills.
A real jack of all trades, but a master of all of them.
Absolutely. And it was in this Milanese period that he started work on perhaps his most famous painting.
Don't keep it in suspense.
There he began a portrait of a merchant's wife, Lisa Gerardini.
Okay, I think I know where this is going.
Right. He painted her lips with such mystery, such eternal ambiguity, that 5 centuries later, people would still stand in long lines just to wonder what she might be thinking.
Mystery and eternal ambiguity. Those are the perfect words. Ambiguity means it's open to interpretation, no single clear meaning. And eternal means forever. That smile.
Exactly. And the source adds, he called her La Gioconda. The world calls her the Mona Lisa. Knowing she was a merchant's wife somehow makes that enigmatic quality even stronger, doesn't it? This ordinary woman with this extraordinary expression.
And that phrase, wonder what she might be thinking, it perfectly captures why people are still fascinated. We just can't help speculating.
It's the ultimate example of artistic suggestion, leaving space for the viewer.
But even while creating masterpieces like this, that restlessness was still there, wasn't it? The source says, behind the masterpieces, Leonardo's heart remained restless.
That inner engine never switched off. Even achieving artistic immortality wasn't enough to satisfy his curiosity.
So what else was he doing?
Filling notebooks, lots of them. He filled notebook after notebook with sketches. The repetition emphasizes the sheer volume of his work.
And sketches of what? Not just art studies.
Oh no, far beyond that. Anatomical studies of bones and muscles, diagrams of the heart, blueprints for submarines, tanks, and helicopters.
Wait, submarines, tanks, helicopters. In the late 1400s.
Yep. Blueprints, detailed technical plans. He was designing technology centuries ahead of its time. It's mind-boggling. And anatomical studies, that was his deep dive into the human body.
He saw the body itself as a kind of machine, didn't he? There's that famous quote.
There is. He wrote, "The human body is a machine more divine than any man could forge."
More divine than any man could forge. So incredibly complex, perfectly designed by nature, almost sacred. And forge here means, like, to make or create anything man-made.
Exactly. He believed the human body surpassed any human invention. It shows this amazing blend of scientific observation and almost spiritual awe.
And he didn't just study diagrams. He got his hands dirty, so to speak.
He absolutely did. The source describes it vividly. He cut open corpses by candlelight.
Which must have been pretty shocking back then, possibly even illegal or forbidden by the church.
Definitely controversial and often done in secret, but essential for real understanding. And then this amazing simile, mapping veins as though they were rivers of a hidden world.
Mapping veins as though they were rivers. Wow. So he's not just dissecting, he's exploring, charting unknown territory within the body. That word mapping turns anatomy into exploration.
It perfectly captures his approach, this hidden world inside us, and he was one of the first to draw accurate maps of it. Incredible dedication.
So you have this genius juggling court life, painting immortal masterpieces, and secretly pioneering anatomy and inventing future machines. It's almost unbelievable.
And yet it leads to that persistent question about him, the unfinished works. Why didn't this man who could do anything always see things through?
Right, that's where it gets really fascinating about his mindset, isn't it? Let's get into that. Okay, so let's shift to a more reflective moment. The source paints this picture. One autumn evening, Leonardo walked through the Milanese gardens alone.
Setting a contemplative mood.
Yeah. The air was cool, and the leaves whispered secrets in the wind.
Whispered secrets.
Yeah.
That's lovely personification, isn't it?
Okay.
Giving the leaves a human quality. It creates this quiet, introspective atmosphere, like nature itself is thinking alongside him.
He seemed to value his alone time, his solitude, but it worried people close to him.
Right. The text mentions his closest pupils, like the loyal Francesco Melzi, often worried about his solitude. Loyal tells us Melzi was faithful, devoted, and solitude just mean being alone. His followers saw it as maybe isolating.
Perhaps. And it was Melzi, the loyal pupil, who finally asked the big question, the one about all the unfinished projects.
Yeah, he apparently asked, "Maestro," that's the respectful term for master, "why do you not finish what you begin? So many paintings remain incomplete."
Straightforward question.
Very. And then he adds the practical side. The world would praise you more if you gave them what they asked. He's pointing out the obvious, finish the work, get more fame, more commissions. It's logical.
It's what most people would think. But Leonardo's answer, it's something else entirely.
It really is. First, his reaction. Leonardo smiled faintly. Not annoyed, just a slight knowing smile, perhaps.
And then he says,
The world is never what it asks, Francesco. It is what it could become.
wow, okay, let's break that down. The world is never what it asks, it is what it could become. He's saying people ask for the familiar, the expected, but he's interested in the potential, the future.
Precisely. He's looking beyond the immediate demand towards an ideal, a possibility that others might not even see yet. It's incredibly forward-thinking.
And then he gives a more personal reason, or maybe two reasons.
Yes, he says, my hand grows tired before my mind does.
His physical ability couldn't keep up with his brain.
That's how it sounds. His mind is racing ahead with concepts, ideas, connections. But the physical act of painting or drawing or building is slower. His mental energy outstrips his physical capacity.
And the final part of his explanation is just unforgettable.
It truly is. I chase perfection, and perfection runs faster than I can paint.
I chase perfection. That verb chase implies this constant active pursuit, like perfection is a moving target he's always striving for.
And it runs faster than he can paint. It's this brilliant metaphor. Perfection itself is elusive, always just out of reach. As soon as he gets closer, his understanding deepens, the standard rises, and perfection moves further away again.
So the reason works remained unfinished wasn't necessarily laziness or lack of focus.
But rather an impossibly high standard, combined with a mind that was always leaping to the next idea, the next problem, the deeper understanding. The process of discovery, the chase itself, was maybe more compelling for him than the finished product.
It's a profound look into the creative process, isn't it? Especially for someone operating at that level of genius. It makes you see those incomplete works not as failures, but as snapshots of a mind in perpetual motion.
Exactly. They're evidence of the chase.
But life doesn't always allow for quiet contemplation and chasing perfection. Politics and war intruded on Leonardo's life in Milan.
That's right. The source says, when war reached Milan and the French invaded, Leonardo fled. Fled, that word signals urgency, running away from danger. And invaded, meaning entered with military force. His comfortable life was disrupted.
So he was on the move again. He wandered again, the text says. And his reception wasn't always consistent.
No, it varied. Sometimes he was welcomed as a genius. People recognized his incredible talent and embraced him.
But other times,
He was dismissed as a dreamer, seen as impractical, maybe unreliable because his ideas were so far out, or because he didn't always finish commissions. It shows how subjective perceptions of genius can be.
this wandering eventually brings him back to Florence. And there he encounters another giant of the era.
In Florence, he crossed paths with another titan of the Renaissance, Michelangelo Buonarroti. Crossed paths suggest they met, maybe unexpectedly. And titan, that word paints them both as these huge, powerful figures.
Like gods walking the earth, almost. But they didn't exactly get along, did they?
Notoriously not. Their rivalry was fierce, the source states. Fierce means intense, passionate competition, and they were suspicious of the other, distrustful, wary, probably fueled by their different approaches and personalities.
The source draws a really sharp contrast between them. Tell us about that.
It says where Michelangelo was fiery, sharp, and obsessed with the power of the human body. Let's pause there. Fiery suggests passionate, intense, maybe hot-tempered. Sharp could mean quick-witted, maybe even cutting in his remarks. And obsessed with, completely focused on the human form, especially in powerful muscular sculpture.
Okay, so that's Michelangelo. Intense, focused on physical power. And Leonardo?
Leonardo, in contrast, was patient, elegant, more interested in harmony than conflict. Patient implies calmness, waiting. Elegant suggests grace, refinement. And his focus was harmony balance, aesthetic unity, rather than the conflict or struggle often depicted in Michelangelo's work.
Totally different temperaments and artistic goals. You can see why they might clash.
Oh, definitely. Oil and water in some ways.
Right.
And this led to some pointed exchanges.
Like the one the source mentions, about the unfinished statue.
Exactly. Once, while Michelangelo mocked him for never finishing a statue, to mock someone is to ridicule them, make fun of them publicly. Michelangelo is clearly trying to needle Leonardo here.
Classic rivalry move. How did Leonardo respond? Does he fire back?
He responded, but in his own characteristic way. Leonardo replied with a calm smile, "It is better not to carve at all than to wound the marble."
Wow. Okay. Replied with a calm smile, keeping his cool. And the line itself, it is better not to carve at all than to wound the marble. What's he saying there?
He's saying it's preferable to leave the stone untouched, not to carve at all, than to make a mistake, to damage the material, to wound the marble. To wound implies causing harm, creating an imperfection in the beautiful stone.
So it's a defense of his meticulousness, his pursuit of perfection. Better to wait or not finish than to mess it up.
Precisely. It's a subtle, elegant, yet incredibly sharp retort. It reframes his failure to finish as a commitment to quality and respect for the medium. It turns the criticism right back around, suggesting Michelangelo might be too hasty, too willing to compromise the material for the sake of completion.
That's brilliant. It tells you everything about his philosophy in one sentence. It's not just witty, it's deeply revealing about his artistic integrity.
And again, notice the power of those verbs. Mocked, replied, carve, wound. They make the whole interaction so vivid for us, showing the tension and the intellect at play.
After all the upheavals, the rivalries, the wandering, Leonardo's later years seem to have brought him a measure of peace, finally.
It seems so. The source tells us, in his later years, Leonardo found refuge in France under the patronage of King Francis I. Refuge means a safe place, a shelter, and patronage is that vital support from a wealthy sponsor.
And King Francis, I wasn't just any patron, was he? He genuinely admired Leonardo.
Deeply. The text says the king adored him, loved him intensely, and even called him my father. That indicates extraordinary respect and affection, almost like family.
So Leonardo finally had a stable, supportive environment. Where did he live?
Leonardo lived in a quiet manor near the Loire River. Sounds idyllic, doesn't it? A quiet manor, a large country house, surrounded by pupils, sketches, and inventions that seemed like whispers from the future.
Whispers from the future. I love that phrase again. It perfectly captures how ahead of his time his ideas were, like little hints of what was coming centuries later.
It really does. Even in old age, his mind was still incredibly active. The source paints a poignant picture. There, his hands trembled with age, but his mind still soared.
Trembled with age, that physical reality of getting older, but his mind still soared, like a bird, unrestrained, powerful. That contrast is striking.
His imagination certainly didn't tremble. He was still dreaming big.
What kind of dreams?
Huge ones. He dreamed of canals that could carry ships across nations, massive engineering projects, of flying machines gliding over mountains. That enduring obsession with flight, described so gracefully here, gliding, suggests smooth, effortless movement of humanity rising closer to the heavens.
That last one feels metaphorical, doesn't it? Rising closer to the heavens, like human progress, reaching new heights of knowledge and capability.
I think so. It captures that aspirational quality in his work, always pushing boundaries.
And then the end came, May 2nd, 1519.
Yes. The source describes it very movingly. Leonardo lay in bed, the spring air drifting through the windows. Drifting, such a gentle verb for the air movement. Serene.
And his notebooks were with him.
Right beside him. His sketchbooks surrounded him like loyal companions. That simile is perfect, comparing the notebooks to faithful friends, highlighting their lifelong importance to him.
And the story about King Francis being there?
It's a famous account. King Francis himself was said to have cradled the master's head in his arms. To cradle someone is to hold them gently, protectively, an incredible image of respect and tenderness between the king and the dying genius.
And even then, with his last words, Leonardo expressed, well, dissatisfaction.
It's astonishing, isn't it? He whispered, "I have offended God and mankind because my work did not reach the quality it should have."
Offended God and mankind. That's incredibly strong. To feel he let everyone down because his work wasn't perfect enough by his own standards.
It speaks volumes about that relentless perfectionism, that impossibly high bar he set for himself right to the very end, even after everything he achieved.
It's hard to comprehend. But of course, history proved him wrong about offending mankind. His legacy endured.
Massively. As the source says, yet Leonardo never truly left. His influence remained. His notebooks, once scattered and forgotten, dispersed, neglected for a time, would centuries later reveal a mind centuries ahead of his age. Their rediscovery showed the true, staggering scope of his intellect.
His ideas resonated long after he was gone.
Absolutely. The helicopter blades he sketched resemble those that fly today. Resemble meaning look similar to. A direct link. His anatomical studies guided doctors long after he died. Provided direction, information, real scientific impact.
And the art, of course.
The art became universal. His paintings, from the Last Supper to Mona Lisa, became icons not of a single time, but of humanity itself. Icon symbols recognized everywhere, timeless.
It feels like his voice still speaks to us through his work, doesn't it? The source concludes with that feeling, imagining his whisper.
Learning never exhausts the mind, meaning you never run out of capacity to learn. It only makes you stronger.
To know is not enough, we must apply. Knowledge needs action. To apply means to put it into practice.
To dream is not enough. We must do. Dreams need execution. To do is to bring those ideas into reality, a powerful call to action from the ultimate thinker and doer.
What an incredible arc from that restless kid sketching flying machines in Florence
To the revered master, dying in the arms of a king, still feeling he hadn't done enough.
Leonardo's life, it really is just this stunning testament to what human curiosity, what relentless drive can achieve, but also the complexities of that drive.
Definitely. And hopefully for you listening, exploring his story through the Eternal Sketchbook hasn't just been a history lesson.
Right. We hope you've also felt how the language used, those vivid verbs like danced or whispered, the metaphors like chasing perfection, how they bring his story and history itself to life.
Connecting the richness of his life with the richness of English expression, it shows how words really do paint pictures.
And that final whisper of his, that feeling of falling short, it really sticks with you, doesn't it?
It does. If Leonardo felt his work wasn't good enough,
Yeah.
wow, what does that tell us?
Wow. It makes you think about ambition, perfection, how we judge ourselves, right? Especially when you're learning something new, like a language, or tackling any big challenge.
hmm What does it mean for you to apply what you know, to do what you dream, even if perfection feels impossibly far away? Maybe the value is in the trying, in the chase itself.
It's a really provocative thought to end on. Perhaps the journey, the learning, the constant striving is the point, more than some unattainable final perfection.
Well said. So we definitely encourage you to keep that spirit of Leonardo's endless inquiry alive.
Yeah.
Keep doing your own deep dives.
Into whatever fascinates you, art, science, language, keep exploring
Keep questioning.
and keep learning. Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive.
Until next time.